When you have clear values and principles and you just stick to them, it frees up so much bandwidth in your thought process, energetically, just frees up so much bandwidth. So I've got an example of this that I want to share with you. And it's this first one here. We tell each other everything, which I believe is a principle of secure functioning relationships, that you tell each other everything. Do I mean literally every single thing? No. And in some of my other webinars and stuff, you can find where I talk about what I really mean by this. But really what I'm talking about here, I'm going to minimize the knowledge gap between my spouse and me. I'm going to try to keep that as narrow as possible so that my partner can make choices about how she shows up in this relationship with me based on the fullness of reality. If I'm withholding reality from her, then she's not getting to freely choose how she shows up, which isn't good for me, because now I have to wonder if she'd still choose to show up that way if she knew this thing over here. And I've got to use up all this bandwidth on that. And I've got to worry about, keeping my story straight and keeping it consistent with this over here. And what if she runs into that person over there and all of this kind of stuff. So here's my example of this. I've got a friend. He's a great guy, one of my best friends. When he was recently married, he and I would meet up for happy hour. Now, some of you may think, happy hour? Well, he's going to happy hour. Let me tell you what we get at happy hour. Deviled eggs from this one particular restaurant down the street. The deviled eggs on their happy hour menu are unbelievably good. I'm talking so good. They've got this tiny little piece of fried chicken on top. Anyway, so we meet up for some deviled eggs, and he says to me, "You going to tell Kristen that we met up for happy hour?" And I say, "Yeah, we tell each other everything." Fast forward, I don't know, a month, we do it again. He says, "Hey, are you going to tell Kristen that we met up?" Because my wife and his wife are also friends. I'm like, "Yeah, we tell each other everything." Third time, he asked me again. And I said, "Look, dude, you're not getting the point. I'm not going to put on myself the burden of trying to wrestle. Do I tell her this or not? Do I tell her this or not? Oh, what about this? Am I going to tell her that or not?" No, I am freeing myself of ever having to wrestle with that. We tell each other everything. That's what I mean by freeing up bandwidth. That's what I mean by keeping me moving in the direction I want to go. Okay. So that's a principle that I would suggest. I think that's a great principle for secure functioning. I want her to have all the data so that she is empowered to make a choice based on the fullness of reality. And if I withhold data on purpose, then I'm purposefully disempowering her. And vice versa, if she does the same for me. Okay. Number 2, put the relationship first. Okay. Put the relationship first. This is mindfulness of what my true best interest really is. I am better off if my marriage is better off. If it's not good for my marriage, in the end, it's not good for me. I don't have to wrestle with, oh, do I do what I really want and need, or do I do what she? No, none of that. That's a false dichotomy. What's best for my marriage is what's best for me, period. I don't have to do that wrestling internally. Let nothing burst the couple bubble. In other words, I've got to properly manage thirds. So she and I are a dyad, all right? The two of us make up the dyad. Everything else in the world is a third. And I'm not going to let any third come between us, pop, and burst the couple bubble. Nothing comes between us. We've got to figure out ways of talking about that with each other. So that might be an example of a principle. And then you've heard probably before, just do the next right thing. Just do the next right thing. Don't get all tangled up on not knowing every step in the whole process. Just do the next right thing. I'm telling you, do the next right, riskiest thing. Take a chance. Take a leap. Don't just do the risky thing. Do the next right risky thing. So here's an example of that. So the next right thing, I might think, well, the next right thing is to not immediately kick him out of the bedroom. What's the next right riskiest thing? Maybe it would be to actually sit down across from him at the table and give him a chance to share his heart. And that maximizes the neuroplastic change. The effort, the energy, the intention, the focus that you're exerting there, that is going to maximize the neuroplastic change that you get for that effort. So those are just a few examples of some principles that you want to put alongside your core values that are going to begin to create this new dynamic in the relationship between you. So your values are yours. You can have shared values as a couple. You have shared principles as a couple. You begin to act on these things.